Chelsea then with the half-time lead as they look to record back-to-back wins against Nottingham Forest at the City Ground. 1-0 they lead as they look to go within a point of Liverpool, and they're worthy of it.
They are, yes. I think they're in control of the game. They've just got to be aware of the break. Forest have a couple of times have broke on them and caused them danger, but at this moment in time, if you're looking at analysing the game, unless Forest change their tactics and go for them a little bit more, I thought the first 10 minutes they'd be pressing high up. They've dropped in. They've decided to drop in and make it very difficult and try and counter. But I think, you know, Chelsea now in control of the game. You're expecting the second goal for Chelsea, really. But it's up to now. Steve Cooper's got to go in there at half-time and change his tactics a little bit, I think. Just move up the pitch a little bit and try and put them under a bit more pressure. They're just leaving the centre-backs with the ball, and it's not really worked out yet. But it's not been a fantastic game, let's be fair, but there's been little bits of moments that have been good.
Let's have a look at the moment that separates the two sides. It all started, you two have noticed, with a conversation between Kai Havertz and his manager on the touchline.
Yeah, strange. I mean, I'd love to be privy to the conversation they're having, but yeah, he kind of lays it off and then he goes and it's almost like he's speaking to the manager. I couldn't tell you what it is because it looks like he's pointing defensively, that maybe there's an issue defensively, but I'm not quite sure what he could be saying, but then he just trots himself into position. So it's clearly nothing to do with what they're doing on the offensive, but he gets himself into position. It's a really good run. A lot goes on, it seems like, since he has the conversation, but listen, he gets across the near post, affects the ball, which then spoons up onto the bar, and Raheem Sterling reacts really, really well. It's not an easy finish, but because he's so relaxed, which is why it's such a good finish.
Oh, it is a good finish, actually, yeah. I know what, as a ex-manager, I think I know what Graham said. Get across the front post.
No. You kept a straight face when you said that then as well.
It comes, but what's the chances of it hitting the bar? But I'm with Darren. This is harder than it looks. I think if we see it from the side, he's claiming for the corner first. So he thinks the ball's gone over, and suddenly it's come there. And he's so sort of switched off and relaxed. He's took it really well, isn't he? Because there's quite a bit of spin on the ball. And that was more difficult. Watch his arm go up. It's off the back of the heel of Bolly here. I mean, if you asked him 1,000 times to do that, he'll never be able to do it. But watch his arm go up there, Sterling. Look, corner. Oh, no, it's come out. And he's just sort of nonchalantly put it in the back of the net. It's a really good finish.
Do you know, Raheem's almost better when he doesn't have to think about the finish.
Exactly.
Sometimes when he overthinks it, that's when he maybe doesn't really get the technique right.
Very true.
But in that scenario where he has no time to think about it whatsoever, he's casual, he's relaxed, good technique, and it's a really good goal.
And that's ended in his longest run in the Premier League without a goal for 5.5 years. Chelsea have had a lot of the ball, though, haven't they, as you expected?
Yeah, we expected that. A lot of the ball, you know, probing. They're leaving the centre-backs with the ball and they're saying, well, you're going to come through the middle of us. The front three are not really pressing hot. They've dropped in almost like a basketball game. And there's a terrific ball from Koulibaly, opens them up early in the game. And you're thinking, well, get at them a little bit better. Their press hasn't really been together. They've been waiting to hit them on the break when they do win the ball. Here, they're going a tad too late. There's a big hole in that midfield. Ball goes in there. And I'm sure that's where Steve wanted them to put pressure on and win the ball here and then break. And then, you know, Chelsea get out of it and cause you problems and put Forest on the back foot. But when they actually do it right, this time, they're patient. The front three are there. They've dropped in again. There they are. They're nice and compact defensively. They're just waiting for these scenarios where the ball hands over and they win the ball in here. And watch this. 1 pass forward, 2 pass forwards, and suddenly they're on the back of Chelsea. And that's what the little moments that they're looking for. And I thought Johnson should have done better there, really. It was a great run, but I'm shouting chip him.
Yeah, I'm thinking with you. I mean, it's a great run, as you said, good pace to get him behind. And maybe a confident Brennan Johnson, maybe Brennan from last season, who was fantastic in the Championship, maybe goes for a different finish. The little dink over the keeper would have been probably the harder finish, but would have been the one that made more sense. But he hits the target, but I think he'll look back at that and be a little bit disappointed.
And just to back up your point, that the two Chelsea centre-backs, Koulibaly and Thiago Silva, have had more touches between the two of them than all of the Nottingham Forest team put together. So that is what Steve Cooper has got to try and change. Let's have a look at how they got back in to it. Serge Aurier is an unlikely source. As he said, his last club goal was 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a volley that he hit about 10 minutes before that, which ended up on top of the stand. But this one here was really good technique. I mean, he's obviously got himself back on side. I think it's Bolly that knocked it down to him, but it is good technique to get it on his chest, and he just gets enough on it. I mean, you can see here, but he wins the header and he just gets it under control, just gets it on the end of his toe to keep it down, and it goes down between the goalkeeper's legs. And it's a really good finish, probably an unlikely goal scorer, but again, look, good technique, just off the end of his toe, between the goalkeeper's legs, nothing he can do, can't react.
No, Bolly keeps it alive, just gets the little header. Watch his left shoulder. He's working, it goes down. So that's getting over the top of the ball, and it was brilliant because he only had split seconds to do it. You know, it's off his chest, drop your shoulder, and get over the top of the ball.
Very Glenn Hoddle-like.
I don't know about that. I never went that far up the pitch. So yeah, it was a really good reaction. And as you say, Darren said he hit a volley on the back post there. So, but he doesn't worry about that. He's that sort of player, isn't he? He doesn't care if he makes a few mistakes. He still continues. He's got that confidence in himself, and it was a key. And after that, you felt as if Forest were going to be the team that's going to win the game. I think Chelsea had one great chance, but other than that, Forest played exceedingly well second half.
And in all seriousness, teams down there, they haven't got a 15, 20 goal striker, none of them. So when the goals do come from a fullback on a day like today, it doesn't matter. That's important, isn't it, to share these goals around wherever they come from?
Exactly. I mean, strikers are hard to come by. Certainly, as you said there, Steve, 15 to 20 goals. But when you're down there, if you can get goals from other areas, I think that's how you survive. You have one who's going to be 10 to 15, hopefully you hope. But then if you can get your fullback scoring goals, your midfield players, just get set plays are massive as they got a goal there. That's what's going to help you survive. And Nottingham Forest is going to need absolutely every single one of them because, make no mistake about it, they are in a relegation fight.
I think the key to that goal as well, if we take it a step forward, the amount of bodies, they saw a little bit of a chink in the armour of Chelsea and the keeper, Kepa. They put so many bodies in there. Chelsea put their bodies in there. It looked like Piccadilly on a Friday night, didn't it?
I'll let you muse that one. Well, we get some Chelsea reaction because just one win from 7 league games for them now. Here's their captain, Cesar Azpilicueta.
You've been a Chelsea player a long time, Aspi. You know better than anyone that, you know, 1 win in 7 in the Premier League is not the form that Chelsea are used to.
No, it's not. Of course, the demand in Chelsea is really high every game. We know that that requires a lot of concentration, a lot of focus, a lot of energy, and we have to stick together. It's true that it's not the most pleasant time, but we have to stick together to go through these difficult moments. Sometimes in football there are up and downs, and it's up to us to keep working hard to improve, stick together. We know, that for the fans to come in here for a year stay, and we wanted to give them as well the win. I think it's important for them to stick, to get a bit of joy, and I think we are disappointed with that as well. So we have a massive game at home against Man City. We have to recover, to prepare the game well, and go together because every point is really important.
Yeah, and look, 7 points off the top 4 places as things stand. Long way to go, but should we still be talking about Chelsea as a Champions League qualification team?
Oh, come on. Now I know that when the positive results are not there, I know it's difficult to be positive, but we have to go game by game. I think now, of course, we are really far from where we want to be, and it's up to us to pick up the points, to recover the ground that we lost this first months of the Premier League, and get back where we want to be.
Thank you, Cesar. Thank you. Thanks, mate.
Yes, Chelsea are 7 points off Manchester United in 4th currently. We'll come to that in a moment. Incidentally, 12 months ago, they were 2 points off the top. So it's a very different picture for Chelsea at the moment. They drew 1-1. They had one opportunity in the second half. Aubameyang has gone 9 games now without a goal. Should he have ended that record?
Yeah, I mean, that's why Chelsea signed him, because he gets himself into positions like this and he usually finishes them off. On this occasion here, I mean, he gets in between the two, the full-back and the centre-half. He's got to hit the target from there. Someone of his quality who scored goals at the highest level. I mean, the ball from Ziyech is perfect. It's right there, and you can see it there. It's right on the end of his head, but he just mistimes it. Like, he's there. It's not too far from him. Get a clean contact from that range, you score. Just goes past his forehand. For someone of that quality, it's a poor miss.
He's done everything right apart from getting the header in. I think it's one of those, he looked a bit hesitant. He's had a fracture in his cheekbone, isn't he? He's only just playing now without a mask. It looked like there was a hesitation there, as if he's the keeper coming. Instead of thinking, I'm just seeing the ball. The ball was sensational from Ziyech. The sort of type of ball he's been playing in the World Cup for Morocco. Beautifully flighted, good movement off the back of the centre-back. Look, he's lost him. And just put it in the back of the net. I just think there's that hesitation there. Am I going to get hit? If that's a scenario where your life depended on it, he scores. I just saw that hesitation there because he did everything right.
Yeah.
And that was the only one chance they had in the second half.
And equally, if he scored 3 and 3, does that make a difference compared to 9 without a goal?
That's what I was going to say. I'm not trying to make excuses for him, but he hasn't played much football. He hasn't been scoring goals, so maybe his time is a little bit off. But he's too eager to get there as well because he's thinking, if I score this, I stay in the team. So all these things are going through his head. Rather than focusing on the ball and just putting it in the net, he's thinking about all these other scenarios. And as Glenn said there, for someone of that quality, with the cross that comes in, he has to score.
OK, we'll get back to where Chelsea are, particularly in this season, in a moment. But let's hear from the man who put a plan together to come back at half-time into that second half, the Nottingham Forest manager, Steve Cooper.
Steve, pleased to come back from a goal down or coming away thinking we could have had all 3 points there?
Bit of both, because you're playing Chelsea, you have to accept that. I thought tactically we were really good in the game, first and second half. Just first half we weren't aggressive enough with our press. We waited a little bit too long before we went after the ball. You can't just go after the ball against Chelsea because you'll get played through too much and the game will become too open and it'll be a dangerous game. But at the same time, you still got to go after the ball at the right time. And in saying that, I think we're unlucky with the goal. It hits the bar and could go anywhere and drops onto Raheem's right foot. But second half, we were just much more aggressive with our press, much more aggressive with our duels, and at least we were the better team for me over the course of the game. You look at the amount of real chances in the game, even first half where I thought we were a bit too passive, we still created the chances of the half, and and on the basis of that, a point is the least we deserve, but we should take a bit of spirit from the performance. We should take a bit of, I think, internal credit for the work that we're doing, or the players are doing, and we move on now.
Glenn, you've been there as a young coach in the top flight for the first time. When you're up against established world-class players, like he says, and you've had the first half that we described at half-time, and you then see the benefits of whatever you've done at half-time. How does that feel as a young coach, the satisfaction levels that Steve Cooper will have there?
Well, it feels good because the players have responded to you. They set out to play that way. We said at the beginning of the game, for 90 minutes to press them high is going to be difficult against it. They're going to have to do that against Arsenal when they go there, Man City, all them teams that they know they're not going to be able to press for 90 minutes. So they pulled back. Where Steve was saying there that he was disappointed is they forgot to press. I remember saying as a manager, sometimes when you go to a halfway press, you get bodies behind the ball. Players think you've done enough. No, you're only coming to a certain position in the pitch to then go and press and hunt the ball together. Everyone thinks pressing is up the top end of the pitch on the edge of the box. Well, you make sure you press, but with bodies behind, and that's what they did first half. And I think that came off to a certain degree. They were still in the game at 1-0, and I think that's what him and his staff would have been saying. If we're still in the game, then at half time we go out and we go the opposite way. We put the ball in their half, we press them high, get this crowd going. So in a way, it was an ideal scenario. He'll feel good about the way they've played second half, but they could have done better in the first half. But he'll be delighted with the way the intelligence of his team. This is what I wanted you to do. We were that far from actually winning the game. We had better chances in the second half. And, I think that shows that they're listening, they're taking everything, the clarity, they're taking it all on board, and they're going out and implementing it.
That's interesting. And from a player's point of view, when you go home tonight and you've got your young managers saying those things, you think, well, we've beaten Liverpool at home, we've almost beaten Chelsea at home as well. Doing that, does that just add to the belief within that collective spirit?
Yeah, it will, because it was almost night and day. Maybe should have gone in and won the game. As a player, you're thinking, well, surely the instructions, he's clearly what he's seen on the pitch is working. You have to try and buy into him. But a lot of them players would have anyway, from the summer and what he did last season, that run that he had, certainly when he got the job in the Championship to when they got promoted, they'll understand what he's doing. But he is a young coach. He's a very, very good coach. But I think, as Glenn said there, once you've got a manager that's gave you instructions what to do at half-time, you've gone out and done it, and you get the rewards from it, it just helps you even more.
Let's not forget, 16 months ago when he walked through the door, they were bottom of the Championship. We're now talking about should they have deserved to beat Chelsea.
Very good point. Very good point. And that's the job that he's done already. But it's every game in this league is going to be tough on them, and they're going to be judged when they get beat 4, which they have done. People are questioning Mark, but you see a performance like that, you can't question that they've got every chance. I mean, we've both put them in at the start of the day in the bottom three. We've been asked to give our predictions. We've both said we think they'll go down, but out of the, I think they've got a chance. Keep playing like that at home against, top players, a top team, not functioning at their very best, but they were terrific. They've learned a lot from that, and I think that what they've learned is the first half performance. That actually getting behind the ball is not enough. We get behind the ball for a reason, make ourselves compact, but we go and press from those positions. It's no different. It's just a different area of the pitch where you go and press together, hunt the ball, put them under pressure, and then you go and counter on them. So they've got another section of play to get under their belt to make them even a better team.
Let's have a look at those couple of chances that Steve Cooper felt might have won in the game. Morgan Gibbs-White was really unfortunate, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even call it a chance because it's just a great bit of technique. I mean, they work it really well down the right-hand side. But as it drops to him there, he's probably just thinking, right, get a good contact on it, good technique, try and hit the target. But he catches it so sweetly as well. I mean, good pullback from Yates as well. But just hit the target, and he does that. He does everything right, but unfortunately, it hits the bar. But, I mean, calling that a chance, an opportunity missed, I mean, that's a little bit harsh. But really good technique. It's really unfortunate. Really, really unfortunate.
It's a great bit of technique. It really is. Yeah, the ball's flying up at him. Again, you look at his left shoulders dropping down to stay above it, and the volley's smashing. And look, he's so unlucky, really. It's fractions, and fractions. That is.
And this is the one we asked Brennan Johnson himself about.
Well, I think he gets in there. Did he have a glance and have a look? There was a moment where he could have squared it, but I'm not sure he had a look. But for me, Silva's defending was brilliant here. He's getting clearer. Does he have a little look? He had a little glance there. But this is where Silva's experience. He doesn't come across to him until it's touched out of his feet. When Johnson just takes a touch, it's only then, if he goes too early, Silva, I think he makes the mind up of Brendan Johnson to square it. But he goes across and puts him under pressure. And the technique for Darren, we were speaking, you'd have blasted that one, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, by the time he gets to the end point where maybe that option's gone to pass it, he goes for kind of a side foot whip, like good height for the goalkeeper. I think if you get to that area there, you've got to just smash it. I think you can't be precise from that angle and that range. You can't be too precise. You just got to put your laces for it, low and hard, and maybe if the keeper gets down and then parries it, then the one you taps it in, but wrong choice of finish for me. But I mean, the whole thing was a wrong option, but certainly the end point was the wrong option on goal.
But a yes or no answer, would you have passed?
100%. No.
Thank you. Right, here is the Chelsea manager, Graham Potter.
Graham, what's your take on that?
Well, in the end, it's a hard-earned point against a team that's set up well. I think credit to them. They used the atmosphere and certainly second half put us under a lot of pressure the first part of the second half. Our performance level wasn't good enough, I don't think, to take the 3 points. When we had control of the game, we didn't move the ball fast enough. There wasn't enough movement for us. And then when we lost control of the game, we suffered a bit. So we rallied a little bit second half in the second part of the second half, and Pierre has a good chance at the end. But I think that would have been unfair to take the 3 points.
What was missing for you, think, today?
Well, like I said, I thought when we had control of the game, we didn't do enough with that. We didn't move the ball fast enough and have enough movement. And then when the game became a bit more uncontrolled, we suffered with the duels and struggled to deal with that aspect of the game. So in the end, it's a tough game. As much as we can be critical of ourselves, I have to say that Nottingham Forest played a good game as well. But we're disappointed with our performance level, I think, over the course of the 90 minutes, and can say that we didn't deserve to win the game with that.
Were you just not strong enough in some parts of the field? Not aggressive enough?
Well, like I said, when it became uncontrolled, they did well. I think it probably suited them better than us, and that's something that we have to deal with and we have to improve. I think they attack the big spaces so well. You can end up close to their goal, and then all of a sudden a mistake or a mispass, and then they've got some real pace and with the false nine dropping in there, linking up, it can cause you a problem. So you never feel comfortable. But still, we can do better.
Just 2 shots on target today. Is that a concern?
Yeah, always. But again, like I said, a combination of our performance level and the opponent.
Now, as we understand it, plenty of business being done elsewhere today. Obviously, you're taking the team today. So can you enlighten us in any way whatsoever with regard to new signings? We're told in particular Benoit Badiashile has a medical due tomorrow. Can you help us at all?
No, until somebody's told me that anybody's been signed, it'd be unfair of me to comment. I've been focused on the team. I have no updates. Sorry.
Going back to right now, how much of a scrap have you got on your hands for a Champions League place?
Well, I think for us it's about the next game and trying to improve. We've got a long way to go in terms of how we want the team to look and the performance level. So for us, I think it would be a mistake for us to worry about what can happen in 5 months' time. We need to focus on the next match and get our performance level better and more consistent. And that's the process. That's what we have to do.
How quickly can you do that and get what you want?
Well, it's how long's a piece of string. It's the beauty of football. We have to, of course, it would help if we get our players back in terms of the key ones, and then you can start to build some consistency in terms of selections. But we took a step forward against Bournemouth. Today was a little bit of a backwards one, but again, not an easy place to come, and the opponent played a good game, I think.
Thanks, Graham.
Thank you.
Twice in the last 20 seasons, that's all Chelsea have missed out on Champions League football. We know what happens to managers who don't deliver that. 6 points from 21. They're 7 points off fourth at the moment. Where are Chelsea at this stage of the season for you?
Well, that's the thing. When Graham first got the job, got off to a good start. But the minute we spoke about it off air, it just seems like there's something missing from Chelsea. Like they're good to a point, but whether they need a new centre forward or someone like a real vocal point, they just seem to be stuck in that kind of second gear where they keep possession really well, nice patterns of play, but when they get in that final third, it's almost like they don't know whether to go in behind, do they keep playing to feet, do they cross the ball? I mean, I'm not quite sure where Chelsea are, but I can understand they've been linked with a lot of players, and I think the nature and the culture at Chelsea will change under the new regime. I think he'll be given more time.
Do you?
I do think he'll be given more time.
So for example, if he misses out on Champions League football this season, that won't be a problem for Graham Potter.
I don't think it will be. I think they might give him more time.
History tells you otherwise, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I think at some stage, I know it has worked, so I'm probably going to contradict myself again, but him hiring a firing man just has worked to a point. But I think when you hire a coach like Graham Potter from a club like Brighton, you know it's going to take time. He's never been at this level before. So you obviously trust in him to take the club forward in time, so you've got to give him that time.
Yeah, it's different ownership there, Steve, what you're saying. I think there's a different philosophy behind it all with Chelsea, so I think he might be given more time if they don't get in the top four. I think...
How far off the top four do you think they are? And not in 7 points at the moment, I mean just in terms of the battle.
The way they're playing, they're off it. They're way off it, actually. Players have got to respond better. Graham just said in that interview there, we're not consistent, we haven't been consistent. Well, he hasn't picked a consistent team. I don't know what Chelsea, no one knows, I think, at Chelsea Football Club, even he and his staff know what his best team is. Yeah. When I say best team, the best 8 that start, 7 or 8, they're my spine of my team, the rest is there. Today we saw substitution. They've got a good squad, they go deep in their squad, but none of them subs came on and made a difference. And that's where Chelsea have always been a team that can change a game from the bench. You know, they've had that for years and years. Today it was evident. Plus the other thing, he wants to get that team. It's the first time without Reece James because of injury where he kept the same team. So he's searching, he's looking for a team. As you said, step forward against Bournemouth. Now I think that was a step back. So again, he's got another conundrum for his next game.
Which is against Manchester City.
Against Man City. So it's obviously horses for courses when you're playing City. You have to maybe pick a team slightly different. But you see the conundrum he's got there. And the word consistency, he hasn't found his consistent team. I think Silva is probably and Kepa at the moment. Those two are a shoo-in for every game. But the rest of them, and I think the players feel that. And that's why they've played under Tuchel with the back three with wing-backs. And when their wing-backs were flying and they had them fit, they looked different class to me sometimes. They flowed. They haven't got that flow at the moment. He's still trying to find what his best team is. And this is internal, let alone who you're going to play every week. You know, what the pressure is from your fans and your own. Internally, he's still trying to find. At Brighton, he knew exactly what his basis of his team was. He hasn't found that yet, for whatever reasons, and I think that's why they're on a sticky wicket at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. I think Hakim Ziyech came on. I thought he made an impact today. But again, that's probably frustrating for Graham Potter as well, because you have someone like Hakim Ziyech who knows got all the ability, comes on today, does really well, puts that great cross in for Aubameyang, but you don't know what you're going to get from him against Manchester City. You might think, oh, he looks like he's got the bit between his teeth, starts, and he offers nothing. So I'm glad. I think he's still trying to find that consistent team. And for me, even Kepa, the goalkeeper, do I feel like he is really sold in him? I don't. I just think he feels he's better than Mendy. So it wouldn't surprise me if he's looking for a goalkeeper. But Thiago Silva is the only one who could probably hold his hand up and go, every single time I'm called upon, I'd never let him down. Again, he didn't today. It wasn't his fault. They conceded. But for Graham Potter, it's a big task for him, big job for him.
And Raheem Sterling, of course, in that first half, ended his worst Premier League run without a goal for 5.5 years. And at the time, it's important for him. You said that was a smart finish, wasn't easy.
There wasn't an easy finish at all. It looks easy because the ball's come down and it's spinning quite a bit, and it's on the up. It's sort of a semi-half volley, and they're always tough. And I think he thinks it's going for a corner. As the ball comes off, his iron goes up, and then he just reacts. And in some ways, as we spoke about, Darren, he's better when he hasn't got time to think. And a lot of his goals at City were in and around the 6-yard box when they were like one-touch finishes like this. This was a bit unique, a bit different. But I think when he's got time and he's running through on people or it's the edge of the box, I don't fancy him to score. But this is like a really good finish. He's alert, changes his feet really quickly. Bang, great technique. And he needed that goal. He created a lovely goal against Bournemouth. For Havertz, and now he's scored. You would think now that he's one that can lift this team with his ability. He's now got a little bit of a foundation to do that.
Yeah, there's more to come from Raheem Sterling in a Chelsea shirt.
You hope that goal, as you said, is the kind of catalyst for moving forward, because when you think of Raheem Sterling, his best work is when he's in and around the box, he's making things happen, he's having shots at goal, he's beating people, going past people. And at the minute, he's just playing within himself. But maybe that's a confidence thing. Maybe he's not quite sure where he fits in this Chelsea team. But listen, goals breeds confidence. Like I know firsthand, when you're scoring goals and the ball's going in the net, you feel like you can do anything. So hopefully, I think for Chelsea to move forward, you need someone of Raheem Sterling's quality absolutely firing. And once he does that, then Chelsea's results will start to turn.
OK, well, Chelsea, of course, face Manchester City in the Premier League and then in the FA Cup in the end of this week. They are 7 points off the top 4.